like you to share the feed too, Anthony Capello. I see you.
Oh, share
I
it.
see you out there killing it, running leads. I'm going to go ahead and share this feed.
Yo, I'm not yelling. I'm just Italian, dude.
Yeah, Anthony, actually, I always do think he's young.
Oh,
I do always think he's young. He's not. Yeah, I did get a haircut, and it looks great. I'm going to get another haircut in a couple weeks. George Beatty is watching. Bring on camera. George Beatty already on camera. I have a sickness, Ian, and that sickness is not being able to stop using a Russian accent. I'm sick, everybody. There it is. There it is, everybody. Your boy George Beatty is here. He is making a Russian accent. He is talking like from Moscow. I also watch Oliver Stone and Vladimir Putin's Showtime shows. It was 4-part series with Oliver Stone interviewing Vladimir Putin, great Russian leader. And actually, I got a lot of really cool. Thanks, Anthony. I got a lot of really cool stuff from this like Putin interview series. I don't know if you're into geopolitics, Ian, but you might get a kick out of it too. But we should probably kick this motherfucking podcast off.
All right.
I don't know what episode we're on. You want to do?
I tracked it. It's 1,000,000,003.
1,000,000,000.3. 1.3.
0.3. Yeah, it was 0.3. Yeah, 1,000,000,003. If anybody's been following, the first 999 million. We're a little slow, but we're gonna kick it up here.
Yeah, we're gonna kick it up. We're gonna do it.
So we're doing the MiddleMen podcast, and for those that have not listened to this podcast before, I'd like to let you know we call this the Middlemen because George and I, in our day-to-day lives, in our non-acting, entertainment, Hollywood lives on this podcast, we are actually middlemen in our real estate industry. So I am a middleman for money. I work as hard money bankers in the Philadelphia market, meaning if you need money for a real estate investment transaction, I'm usually the guy that, or hopefully the guy that you're going to call to go over and say, hey, Ian, I need money to flip this house. And I say, hey, I can give you that money. And that's what I do. And usually you need to find a house. And that's where George comes in. For that house that you need to find for money, George, what do you do?
I sell deals. If you want to buy a deal on a residential single-family investment in the greater Philadelphia area, let me know. Go to paoffmarket.com, pay full price, don't ask questions, and then give us a little bit of extra money after transaction's over. That's how you become a premium buyer.
Yeah, pay more than you should, and we will absolutely treat you back.
Absolutely. Also give Ian more money than he asks for. If he
Yeah.
says the loan is 30% interest, you give him 31% interest.
Absolutely.
If he says it's 5% interest, you give him 6%.
And it's in your best interest to do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Anthony, thank you. Yeah, our 1,000,000th episode, and Anthony says we haven't aged a day. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. George actually has a doctor for that. Yeah. So
I haven't
George,
aged a day since the age of 15 because of Dr. Brookman, who's is the bottom dropping out of the market. Wow, Josh is just coming hard with questions.
Yo, we're getting there today,
Jeez
man.
Louise.
I'll get there today. I got charts in front of me, my friends.
We got someone trying to negotiate rates. He says 27.5% interest. What do you think, Ian?
I'll take it. Yeah, no, I'll take it right now. Right now, 27.
Do it for 27.25.
If you want to tip me 0.5,
I'll give you a tip as long as it's just the tip.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Sorry. If you're listening, Ian just rejected me for a high five in probably the most humiliating fashion I've ever experienced in my entire life.
All right, George, what are we talking about today? Well, let's talk about something interesting other than stupid real estate. Let's talk about meditation.
I love meditation.
So
I love meditating.
We're always pushing ourselves mentally in the real estate world and making money is fantastic. But also that comes with where do you spend your money and where do you spend your time? And something you brought up interesting today, which was a meditation. You're a believer in the meditation world, and I'm a huge fan of it. My buddy's a big fan of it. Talk to us about what you do with meditation.
Yeah, starting off, I read a lot of like peak performer tips of like super high net worth individuals. And one thing that almost all of them say is meditation is the best return on investment for your time that you can get. So I've always been trying to meditate, and sometimes in the past I've gotten really good at it, meaning I've been able to do it for 10 minutes without, stopping in the past, but I've never really stuck with it. I've got like a really A-type go personality. So like whenever I sit down and don't do anything for more than 30 seconds, whether it's not scrolling through my phone, not watching something on a TV or on a computer screen or whatever, I kind of, get distracted and want to stop, right? So like as an example of that, whenever I sit down and meditate, what would happen to me is I would start counting my breaths. And after I get past 5 or 10, I would basically get bored and not want to do it anymore. Even though I knew that all these great benefits came from it, like the pain of being bored for that time. We're going to get to that, Josh. The pain of dealing with that boredom outweighed the pleasure or the benefits I knew that I would get from meditation. So excuse me, I was reading something on a Tim Ferriss blog or a Tim Ferriss podcast, and his guest was saying the exact same thing that I was saying. Like, I know that meditation is great, but I don't feel like it because I'm super A-type and I don't have the patience for it. And then that person said that they tried something different called heart rate variability training, HRV. I think that's what HRV stands for. And he got a machine called a heart math machine, which is just like something you hold in your hand while you're taking deep breaths. And it just like gives you those little waves that you see in the hospital, which like measure your breaths and measure your heart rate. And he said that looking at it from a doing variability training standpoint, not a, oh, I'm meditating and I have to have this sense of interconnected peace for which there's really no measurement stick for how connected you are, right? He said that was life-changing for him and he got really into it. So I bought the machine and it was like $100. And, you know, it showed up and I started using it. I just clip it on my ear. I turn it on, it connects to my cell phone, and my cell phone provides instant feedback and makes a little dinging noise when I'm in coherence. Coherence is like that meditation zone that they talk about. Like when you're feeling connected to yourself, like it's able to measure that somehow from your brain waves or from your, basically your blood flow or heartbeat or whatever. I don't really know. So like, Ian, you know, when you see one of those machines in the hospital and it's like that really squiggly up and down the line, looks like a violent roller coaster. The goal of heart rate variability training is to make that typically squiggly, violent line changing into like basically just being a smooth wave.
Like a bell curve?
Yeah, basically making as much of a bell curve as possible with really long wavelengths. So that's your goal, is to like calm down, which happens when you calm down, you're in coherence, right? Mm-hmm. So now for 3 to 5 minutes in the morning and usually in the middle of the day, and even I'll also do it, and I've been doing it like 2 or 3 times a day. I'll sit there with the little clip on my ear and I'll just focus on being calm, taking deep breaths in a rhythmic fashion, and I'll watch it on my phone, and it gives me instant feedback for whether it's working or not. And the more calm I am, the more I focus on being calm and like focusing on moments in my life that I feel grateful for, the better my training goes, and it started going really well. I even did it in the Uber on the way here with all the crashing noises and the traffic and the music in the background. I had like my best session yet. I even increased the difficulty on it, and it was really.
If you can meditate through Uber in Philadelphia, you're doing something right.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So you get the machine. You get the machine. You have to buy the machine.
Yeah, you get
like $100.
Yeah.
Clip it on your ear. It goes on your phone.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
All right, yeah, let's see. So my buddy is actually my one buddy's like an all-in friend too. Like when we get in something, we get in deep. Oh, it's really
this is it.
It's good.
It literally looks like a Bluetooth thing. Hold it up for y'all that are watching. It's just that you clip it on your ear like this.
Sweet earring.
You clip. Thanks, bud.
Your right earring or left ear?
I put it on my right, and then you clip it on here. You can clip it on your nipples too if you want to, but you have to pay extra for that.
Mm-hmm. So it's Bluetooth.
Yeah, it goes by Bluetooth, and then I'll show you this app on my phone. I just click the app, and I say I want to connect, and it's connected already. And then it.
Let me read it. Let me see what it says now. Like you're not meditating.
So it says inhale and exhale. So I'll start inhaling.
There's it. Wait, what are we expecting to change here? Oh, right here.
Yes, you see the top right?
So it's reading. Look, there you go. Look at the top. You can see the top. Is that your heart rate or what is that?
I actually have no idea.
Okay.
I'm going to switch the view on here. So in a moment, it'll make a dinging noise. It'll probably ding red because I'm not in coherence, obviously, because I'm demoing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so it dinged red, which means I'm not in coherence.
Oh, it's spiking.
Right, it's spiking because I'm talking, I'm not meditating. So we can switch the view on here by scrolling. And now you can see that's just a full wave, right? So if you want to hold that up there.
You can see that. All right, let's see you alter the wave. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's crazy. What are you aiming for? Like those kind of softer moves?
Yeah. So, and also you see here in the blue one, blue is like, I have the difficulty turned up on this, so it's like harder for me to hit the green, which is coherence. You see how that spiked up and started slowing down? Mm-hmm. That's what you want. That means you're, I mean, in a word, doing well, right? You can see that your beats per minute, your spectrum. I'm going to turn the session off. Just, I think you guys all got the picture here.
Huh. So
the other thing that's cool is, and just so you know, we don't have our credit card. Don't don't get your credit card machine out until we can find an affiliate link for this. I don't even think you can get an affiliate link for it, but I really just love this thing. It also provides a record of, I'm just super obsessed with this app right now, Ian.
It's really neat. That's really neat.
So it also keeps a record of all of your past sessions if you want to see them. So
you can like monitor your improvement?
Yeah. So I'm going to click on, let me get out of my sessions here, review, journal. So these are the notes that I took in the session in the Uber, and it said, hey, this is the one while I was in an Uber, music was playing, potholes, all kinds of stuff. And it was my best one yet. So I can go back through previous meditation sessions and read my notes about it. But I can also, which is really cool, see the change over time. I've only been using this for a few days, so there's not a ton of data for it yet. But these are all the sessions that I've had.
Oh, it's significant.
Like in the last couple of days, right?
So,
just in the last week.
So the green
is good.
Green is good.
Right.
So you can see the change.
Right. So like one of those days I tried meditating after I had like 2 or 3 shots of espresso in the morning, like right after I jumped off my laptop, and basically while I was still thinking about work and thinking about a bunch of stuff that was going on. It was really hard for me to get into coherence because I was focused on other things. And it clicked, and I just started calming down and like allowing myself to feel certain emotions, and bang, it was great. And it's got like a scoreboard with other people and stuff, little tips. But this is probably I spend a lot of money on like basically bullshit, right?
Self-improvement.
Yeah, but this is one of the, this is probably some of the best $100 I've ever spent on something.
Yeah, it's good use of $100. Spend $100 on a lot more other stupid stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
We had my one buddy. So actually, we talk about cold showers going all the way back to I think it was like episode 500,000. We were talking about cold showers, and my one buddy said that the feeling you get when you hit it. So he's really big into meditation, right? Like it takes him an hour. He does the whole process. Like he goes like so. He goes, that feeling that you get in the shower when that cold water hits you for those like 10 or 15 seconds is the same state of that you're trying to achieve in meditation, because your mind immediately has to focus on the now.
Yep.
You're instantly in the now, and you're not thinking.
Exactly.
Because of basically kind of the pain or the discomfort brings you into the now. So it's interesting that is actually able to measure that moment for you. So basically you reside in the now for 3 to 5 minutes. You ever met people you can tell whether they know it or not, live in the current moment? Have you ever met somebody like that? I have a buddy. You know who lives in the moment?
Who?
Phil Davis, my fighter friend.
Really?
You've never met somebody with a personality like this. The man is
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. Phil is always in that moment. He's not worried about what happened before. He's not worried about what's going to happen next. When you're talking to him, he is always present, and I think it's just how he exists. But Phil is one of those guys, and I had another buddy I used to golf with that just lived in the moment, and it's like almost like a constant state of meditation that they don't even know exists.
Yeah.
And it's like a mindset we could all achieve, because you're always like entrapped between your worries of the past and your worries of the future, right?
The now is the key.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can live in that now, and that's when you're having the most fun in your life, right? When you're doing something that has you existing now, it's always the most fun.
Yep.
That's always the most pleasurable moment, but it's hard to like live in that moment. Which I think is why a lot of people like, most minds will like really be attracted to escapism, whether it's watching a movie, playing a video game, whatever it is, because escapism is really not taking you away. It's entrapping your mind in the current moment right then and there. And it's pretty attractive to be able to like have a shortcut to that. So you're actually doing it.
Yeah, building my own shortcut.
To living in the now. So meditate. Ooh, what do we got? Joe.
Yeah, what's up? Yo, what's up, Joe Evangelisti? What's up, Anthony? Yo, we got a lot of people watching this right now, guys. So if you want to button the top button, you need to unbutton again.
Yeah.
Yo, if you guys want us to know you're here, leave us a comment. Just say hey, say hi, what's up, like the feed, or if you like the content, just click that share button. It's pretty easy. Oh, Steve wants me to button them all up. You want me to be a top button guy, bro? Because this really isn't my style.
Do you want a tie?
No, God, no. I've been making fun of Frank McGovern for buttoning all his buttons up for a long time now, and wow.
That is not George.
Yeah, this isn't me. This isn't me, Steve. I gotta let this thing go. Oh, this is a new custom shirt I got from M. Taylor.
Looks good, man.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Let me tell you about this website. So M. Taylor, it's like mtaylor.com. They take a video of you spinning around like this, and obviously I'm flexing because duh. And they take the measurements of your body electronically, and then it just spits a shirt out for you. And it's like $80-$90 for a custom shirt, which is less than half of what a custom shirt typically costs. That's like,
so
this
when
is
you
one
got
of their nicer ones. They're not super silky. It's not like a $500 dress shirt by any means for like boys or whatever.
does that fit
like,
perfectly?
Yeah, I mean,
Like you feel like it?
Like, look, I mean, it came a little big, right? And then I put it in the wash and shrunk it, right? It's all cotton.
I mean, it looks like it was meant to fit you.
Yeah. It fits great. Like, I really like the shirt. I got a white one too. And you guys on, Facebook, like, I know that you and I are talking about clothing frequently. You're like, what's the value of like an expensive piece of clothing? But I didn't have to go get measured with an upsell and mother of pearl buttons. Just super simple, fits me perfectly. Ordered it, showed up in 2 weeks. I got these jeans on there.
That's my style of order right there. That's my. Oh, you get pants too?
Yeah, I had never gotten pants from them before. I just got these jeans there, and like usually I do really like to get nice jeans because like a good pair of jeans feels like you're wearing sweatpants, right? And I just love that feeling. So I didn't know if these were going to feel like that. They're not entirely sweatpantsy, but they fit me perfectly. I don't have to unbutton them after I eat because I usually have to do that because, well, I like to eat. And yeah, I actually literally the pants fit exactly how I want them to be. No additional tailoring, no nothing. Pants were like $100. Like jeans are $100. I know you're used to spending $10 on a pair.
Yeah, well, I just did. So it came in. So G's Taylor from India came over, and we had a Sunday. We all had to come in if you wanted your suits. So I got like a few suits. I got some shirts and so forth. He's good. So
Taylor from India.
Yeah,
I mean, I know G's from India.
Yeah, but when he gets his suits done, he goes to this guy in India, and this guy is in the States.
I mean, what's the difference between going to this guy in India and going to a guy in the States?
I think it was more just like a good tailor. Like, he had a good tailor.
Well, a good tailor is hard to find.
Yeah. So he's a good tailor. And I don't know, we'll come up. So I'm expecting shirts and suits, more money I've spent my entire wardrobe.
I bet you have.
But Ann was like, buy whatever you sell.
Yeah. Okay, so I've spent a lot of money on suits and nice clothing. And what I've found is oftentimes the made-to-measure guys in the United States, their whole spiel is that it's their eye, they're measuring you and giving you advice, but they all send your measurements to a factory in China or India. They make them there and then send them back, right? The bespoke people, the super high-end stuff, they'll make it here, or they'll make it like in Italy or something like that. It's like super high-end fabric. So my uncle, who was like an executive for Pfizer for a while, who was always working in Japan, and he had suits made for him in Japan. He was like, yeah, this is like a $300 to $500 suit, but it'd be like $1,000 or $1,500 suit in America. So I'm wondering if maybe because the guy is from India and they're producing them there, it's actually like super high quality stuff, and it just happens to be not only a great tailor, but like
where it comes from and so forth. That's a good point.
How much were they, if you don't mind me asking?
Not expensive. So they were anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
Okay, like, that's normal for a custom suit. Yeah.
But for India, that could be a $3,000 suit over there.
Exactly.
Right? I don't know. So
and if that's what you're getting, then you're great. And it's exactly what you want.
And G's good with that stuff. Like, he doesn't mess around with it. So and Ben co-signed it. So Ben was like, yeah, this is the
good stuff.
Yeah, Ben doesn't take second rate.
Ben likes to dress well.
Likes first rate stuff. So but yeah, so we'll find out. I'll find out in 12 weeks. But I like the idea of that. That's my style of shopping. Just turn around in a mirror and
bang, done. Click a few buttons. It's super easy.
Perfectly.
I've traditionally, I'm very significance driven, and frankly, to my discredit, I've always been very, if you can't tell that I make a lot of money, then what's the point? Which is like been a character flaw of mine, especially like from the way I grew up, right? So I'm becoming more, as time moves on, I'm becoming more and more like, I really don't give a fuck. Like, if this fits well and it like shows up well on camera, because like that's like really what I care about. Like, I really don't give a shit if this is fucking Italian or whatever. Do I like it, right? And like, yeah, it's $90 for a shirt, and like not everybody can afford a $90 shirt, but it's very fucking cool. You're like using technology. You click a few buttons, it shows up the mail 2 weeks later. It fits you perfectly. Like, I have this like wrestler body style where I have like a barrel chest sort of, and I'm like not that tall, So it's like really hard for me to find clothes that just fit me naturally anyway. So this was just super easy and fun. And cool.
It's a smart idea. That's a genius idea by this company, honestly. Like, that's the future of buying.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I'm not going to Marshalls if I can just go online and click a button.
Yeah.
I don't have to leave the house. I'll pay extra for that.
Yep.
So let's talk about something serious. So we want to talk about the market. We've been tracking it pretty tightly over the last few weeks. We're just talking about it.
I don't know shit about stocks.
Well, Josh was just talking about it. So we're at a special moment right now. So we watched the quarterly players close this on a mark that was not positive, and it's the first time we've seen that in a few years. Last time we hit this, it was not that. It was a correction, but it It didn't rock the market.
Wasn't serious, yeah.
The natural target, which I
didn't even know there was a correction in 2015 when you told me. I was like,
yeah, it was like a small correction. It was like a test. It was a test.
Yeah,
The big money was testing.
Yeah, it's like when you see on CNN, like, oh, there was a market crash today, and you're like, no, there wasn't. No one's talking about it.
Right, I didn't feel it. That was also like the 2000.com bubble crash. You were like, nobody actually felt it except if you live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, wait, that was a correction. So the same thing kind of happened here in 2015. The difference is the thing we're looking at now is two concerning points is that we have the quarterly players are in play and they've established themselves. And we're seeing, if you got, I don't really watch the news. I just look at the charts. I've seen a couple announcements and I pulled up some of the charts today. The volatility is increasing, and volatility in a marketplace is fear. It's the same thing as fear. So people think like, oh, we had a big dip today, and they go, oh, we had a huge rally today, and we had a huge dip tomorrow, and a huge rally today. What you see during a process, so topping and bottoming is a process. It doesn't happen instantly. So it takes time to form. And what we're seeing right now, whether it's a big crash or a little crash, I don't know. But what you're seeing when that increased volatility, that's fear of your big money and your small money, all of it is saying we don't know what's going on. Couple that with the quarterly presence of the quarterly guys saying we need to scale down. There's a whole lot of other reasons in my charts that it will just sound like Spanish to most people. But there's a good indication that we need to soften a little bit pretty effective fairly immediately. Okay. So and immediately can mean 3 to 6 months. Like in our world, that doesn't mean overnight, but 3 to 6 months, you could have a softening. But I always look back and say, and the thing I really reside on, it was amazing. You pointed it out from the Market Makers event, which was Richard Aller saying, look, I don't care if we're going up or down, just go up or down. Don't sit me sideways.
Yeah, that was really interesting that everyone was concerned about indecision because like growing up, unless you're studying this stuff, they don't teach any of this shit in school, I don't think. It's like, it's going well or it's going bad, and going bad is bad, right? They never tell you about like indecision is really the worst thing. Indecision is like the worst thing in business. It's obviously the worst thing in the stock market, right? It's just really interesting that all the big players kind of like
because like whether it's a stock market or business or whatever it is, you're just amplifying human emotion across the scale, across the board, right? So think of your own personal business and multiply that by 1 trillion. That's not a good. So multiply that by 1 trillion. So think about in your business. Imagine you're trying to grow your business and you're in a position where you're like, I don't know where I'm going to go with my business. I don't know if I should buy more marketing. I don't know if I should sell more houses. And you're in this state of constant confusion.
So me in December, okay.
Yeah, like it's a terrible place to be, right? You're like, you'd rather just be like, wow, that was terrible. Yeah. Here's how I adjust. Or this is great. This is how I continue. Not in a position of what the hell do I do? So if you multiply that across an entire economy, which is the same, the emotions that you're actually having internally are replicated across an entire marketplace.
Yep.
But don't underestimate that feeling. So that low level subconscious stress that you're feeling is being replicated across the entire market. So I don't know if we're in a state of indecision, but I know we're in a state of volatility, which is fear. And these big rallies followed by these big dips is not a place where people think, oh, we're rallying again, everything's good. I mean, we're in world turmoil with politics, trade, everything sets up for a bearish tendency at the moment. I don't see anything in the pipeline that's going to come in and say, oh, there's a really positive outlook, this should be saved. I mean, we're due to soften.
Yeah, I mean, a case can be made to say we're always in a state of indecision with geopolitics, like except for like right after World War II or like right after some major conflict, and we're pretty much always in a state of like, who knows what's going to happen with trade.
But the point about being in after a major conflict, which you just mentioned 2 of them, that is a clear sign of a bottom. Like a major conflict, and then you go, that was the worst thing that could have ever happened. You're clearly at maximum pain that your society can absorb. That's a bottom.
Yeah, everything's coming up.
And then from there on out, you start to move, and then you move towards the top or whatever it may be, and then you get into those positions of indecision. But those moments that you just mentioned are literally just clearly bottoming moments.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah. So that's where the market is, and I am not an investment advisor, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. So check back with me in 2 weeks and let's see how it's going. But that's where it is. So
well, I mean, that's all well and good, but like with this knowledge, assuming that you do know what you know and everything like that, what are you doing about it? Like on your end,
honestly,
you're involved with a couple different types of businesses. Like, what do you
from a real estate perspective, you just continue to watch the comps and see what the values are. from a marketing, I don't know what indecision looks like in terms of dealing with. All I can do is look back at the last 3 months of comps. So I'm starting to tighten up my comps right now. So instead of looking back a year or whatever that number is, I'm tightening up to a shorter time frame to make sure that the nearest market is the indication of what's coming right now. That's the best case. That's the best I can do in that scenario. From a stock standpoint, it's a little bit easier to see. From a real estate standpoint, though, real estate will lag the stock market a little bit. So because you buy a house, even if you're in short-term money, you're 12 months out.
Right.
Stock you can buy and sell in the same day. I guess unless you're wholesaling, which is very possible, you can wholesale in the same day. But you're still going to make your decision based on other investors that put a comp on the market from a 6 to 12 month period.
Yeah, probably. Typically, I think I find the decisions on comps are normally for us being made between 3 and 9 months ago. If you got a comp on the block from 2 weeks ago, then yeah, go for it. But that's rare. You know what I mean? It's
Crash time for us when we were in 2009 was 90 days. Anything beyond? No, I'm sorry. Everything inside of 180 days, most likely 90 days was like the time frame we operated in. And then as you got further into the upswing, you could operate outside of that.
Right.
But I remember that specifically, thinking it was crazy to operate outside of 180 days.
Well, yeah, typically. We're wholesaling is a little bit more speculative. I'm not putting a couple $100,000 of my own money out to purchase a house. I'm banking on somebody else doing that, right? So it's a little bit different for us. But yeah, I that's definitely true. I was just telling Ian about this. I think I'm doubling my marketing this month. I thought that we just sent out 20,000 letters. Those will hit over the course of the next 30 days. And originally I was going to do 25,000 postcards as well. And it turns out that the lists that I sent were 33,000 postcards. So the biggest amount of marketing that we've done previously was between 30 and 40,000 records and a little bit of Facebook advertising, a little bit of pay-per-click. Right now, we're generating 7 to 15 Facebook leads per day, spending $500 a day to do that. So it's about 15 grand a month. 33,000 postcards, which will start going out probably late next week, will start hitting. And then those 20,000 mail pieces. So we're talking about 55,000 or 50 to 55,000 letters, let's just say. And then all those Facebook leads. So we're gearing up to spend a little over $40,000 this month in marketing.
So for everybody that's listening, I always get what's up, Carl? What's going on, man?
What up, Scaramuza, my man?
So interesting what George just said. So I've always said this: the biggest players or the biggest guys that do the most transactions in this city in their niche are spending 30 to 40,000 or more a month on marketing. And people are just like, the gap between typically where your average starting investor is to where that is enormous.
Wholesaling, though, the biggest wholesaler type people are spending $15,000 to $25,000. It's rare for it to hit 40.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. That's a lot
of those guys,
But if you have a well-oiled system, you'll make your money.
Yeah.
Like you'll get that back, and that's really important. I haven't hit the mark quite yet where we're going to double down on marketing, but I'm prepared. That's also the reason that you run lead in a business, is because of these moments. You go, like, if you went out during an upswing and you start spending money on all this crazy shit, and all of a sudden, we got to spend money on all this crazy stuff, and you're just like, crazy payroll, crazy this, crazy that. When it comes time to go, oh shit, the market's crashing, or oh wow, I got to double down on marketing. You want to have the money and the ability to be like, I don't have to worry about where do I find the money? You have the money ready to go in the next month cycle because you're netting out a good bit, and you realize, hey, maybe this month I can't take 20 or 30 grand in my pocket. I got to take 10, but I can allocate 20 because I can double down on my marketing. So running lean shows itself. I know this for definitely during the crash. Running lean will show itself during a crash, and it will cut the cutting the fat is really the people that were splurging on the moments that didn't, that really shouldn't have been there.
Wasting money,
yeah. Because you got to apply that money exactly right.
Yep.
During those crashing times.
I got to be honest, Ian. January, December, even February, I was wasting a lot of money on shit that wasn't really working as pet projects, like 10, 20 grand a month.
It happens to put you in check.
Yeah. And I looked at all my shit, and we had a slow January and February. I was like, I'm cutting all this shit out, and next time with all this extra money I'm spending, I'm just going to send more fucking letters, or just spend more money on leads. That's what I want.
You always go back to what works.
Yeah.
But it's not, you don't want to discourage people from
always be testing.
Always be testing.
Always be testing. Always be trying out new shit. But I was literally spending half of my budget on shit like that, or like I went all in on a postcard campaign that just did not get any results at all. And like probably half of the normal response rate that we would get, which is like half is like devastating for that fucking shit to happen. You know, shame on me for rolling the dice on that. I was talking to our friend Josh at a seminar. He said something similar happened to him last year, and you know, the lesson is always be testing, but don't stop doing what works in order to test. It's testing. You're just fucking trying things out. You know
yeah. You gotta, and it's almost like I don't really, I guess to some extent we do this, but like you almost want to allocate like a test budget, like a prototype budget, and then have like, this is what makes me my money. This goes out, come hell or high water. But it's easy to get, you know, attracted to other things when there's a lot of money coming in. You know, fortunately, we're not exactly at the top at the moment. Maybe we are, maybe we're not, but you're at least, you can still close a lot of transactions at the moment. So that's not going to show itself. But, you know, lean time, I remember in 08 when it was like, you did exactly what worked, and anything else, there was no money to do anything else. It was like, if this is working, do this, ride this hard. But the nice thing about like an upswing in technology changing is like, when you have that extra money, you put it into a test budget. Like you have to, because if you get ahead of that, like we got ahead of like social media and so forth back in 07, 08, that paid out. I mean, we were aggressively going after it. What the next thing will be, I don't know. I still think these videos and this stuff is all whitewashed on the internet right now. I mean, everywhere you go, my entire Facebook feed is everybody making a video like this. And I was like, 5 years ago, I was the only guy making videos.
Groups too. But yeah,
groups,
Facebook's optimizing groups right now.
You know, you got Facebook, and then you got the CEO is about to be like, you know, they're asking him to step down, and it's like, so what's the next social media push? I mean, is Facebook at its end? Is Amazon at its end? They're getting caught by the government. So whatever that next thing is, we all have to get ahead of, and you only can do that through testing, right? So you have to test your way into that stuff. I don't know what the next social media push is. Do you?
I mean, I still think we're in the golden age of Facebook advertising.
I really do. Yeah.
We're still. I mean, it took me months and a lot of money to get out in front of Facebook seller lead ads, and I'm doing great with it. It's going really well. I was talking to somebody a couple nights ago, and they were like, "Yeah, the guy I have doing this, like, no conversion, blah 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 blah," and yeah, so you know, but that, which makes up a significant portion of our lead flow now. So like now, literally, I can click a few buttons and like I can dump leads into our system when like we have lulls in mail.
Almost on command.
With mail, so just to give you an example. The 20,000 records are going out several thousand every 3 days. So basically every 3 days we get a bunch of leads, 2 days is quiet, bunch of leads, 2 days is quiet. The postcards are going to go out, like a lot of them are going to go out every single day. It costs more money to do that, but like you want it to be flowed. So like we had a week-long lull in between when last month's stuff stopped hitting and when this month's stuff would start hitting, right? So in that period, we double down on Facebook ads and they just start flowing in that time period to like keep the phones ringing, right? But like, I think that's just an example of like why testing is important. You have to do it, right?
So you're spending $500 a day on Facebook, man.
Right now, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You are all in on your business.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you know, it's not. I'm not self-employed anymore, right? So like, you know, I have people relying on me to provide them leads, and like, I have a bunch of employees, and the bunch of employees are based on us running, like, let's say 20 appointments a week. So like, unless we're at or near 20 appointments a week, it's like, well, I have to keep the marketing on to keep this. And as long as the deal flow is kicking back in, it's okay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, you know, Facebook leads, we convert each lead to appointments at a lower rate than direct mail leads, but the appointments that result from Facebook ads, we convert much higher, like double than we do from direct mail leads. So while the cost per deal is pretty similar, I can reliably click a button, spend this much money on this, and get this many appointments.
You can easily measure it.
Yeah. So like if it's measurable and like I like, and the numbers are good enough, and like, you know, the salesmanship's being done right, the following up stuff being done right, the appointment settings being done right, the transaction coordination being, you know, all that stuff, then yeah, I mean, theoretically it's a push button solution. You invest $1 and you get $1.15 back. Like, how many times would you click that button?
Right. You just click it over and over.
Right. Yeah. So like, I was the exact same thing. I'm sure you're thinking like, oh fuck, you're spending a lot of money on that. Like a few weeks ago.
No, I wasn't thinking, oh fuck. I was just thinking, I like your commitment level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, before I was spending like $3,000 to $5,000 a month on Facebook advertising, and I didn't want to spend more than that. And then I looked at it and I was like, if I can keep the lead cost around the same amount, like, why the fuck don't I just buy all these fucking leads, right? So, and I talking to one of my guys the other day, he brought up the same thing. It was like, I think you should spend more money on Facebook leads. And at that point, I had increased it by, let's say 30% already because I was in agreement with him. And then I was like, fuck it, why don't I just turn on all these other ads? And we literally, like, we were spending $200 to $300 a day. Now we're spending $500 a day. Just keep
but you can measure that return on investment.
Right. We also hired some people, some outbound phone callers, and so this is our funnel for that, because outbound phone callers that aren't I know you just had experience with them. You don't fucking know if they're going to be good, right? So like the funnel that we ran for it did not involve anyone physically here, because I have a tendency to like baby people, pay them more money, and this is very important to get someone right away. So we hired 4 or 5 people from Upwork to make outbound phone calls. Of those 5 people, one of them that we had a verbal agreement with to start dropped off the face of the map. One of them has not made a single call yet, and I think her mom's in the hospital or something like that. That happened right when she got hired. She's disappeared. One of them has basically wasted a bunch of time and money and is completely ineffective at the position. So we just let him go. How many? 3 or 4? Four. And then one of them's great, and we just gave her a raise and increased the number of hours.
Law of averages,
right? So we fired 4 people and got 1, and it's great. So now she's doing more follow up on like 6-month-old Facebook ads.
And then hire another 5 and hire 1. Yeah.
Right. We're getting ready to hire another 5. So we got a few people like doing that, and I always have like my ride or die local team here. So like the running lean, I can always just go back to just those people here in Philadelphia who are great, spend time with, all that stuff. But yeah, so we're doing more outbound calling, so we can service all those leads coming in with competent outbound calling. We have all these old phone numbers and whatnot. So all my appointments that are focusing on like the hot newness, but a few competent outbound phone calling being made to all of our leads, and we've got a couple thousand after a few months, right? So like, yeah,
I like it, man.
The appointments in. Yeah.
Dude, you know what I just did? I said I give you some props. We had so I got invited to do that little temple real estate group. Yeah, and I was like, so I was talking, and I bring you up in conversation on my presentations, and I was like, George Beatty. I was talking about wholesalers in the city and so forth. I said, man, he did, he's done it in 2.5 years. It took me 10, whatever. And I was like, you guys know who George Beatty is? I was like, you wouldn't know. They're like, oh yeah, George Beatty. I was like, wait a minute, what? I was like, so
yo, it's your boy, dude.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he presented to you before. I was like, super entertaining, funny guy. I was like, he might be funny, but he's super. So, but like everything you just said right there, like it's funny because you can go from your Russian accent to that conversation.
Literally.
Yeah. That's just it's like 2 Georges. So. That's what I got today, man. That's a pretty good conversation. What do you got? Anything else fun and fancy?
Dude, I really wanted to talk about that meditation thing. That's cool.
I think it's awesome.
We're going to run a similar hiring funnel for salespeople based on increase in mail, increase in employees. We're projecting to have basically too many leads, or at least the ability to have people servicing more leads soon. So I'm going to run a similar funnel for hiring salespeople. And if you're interested in a sales job, drop me a line. Basically, we're going to hire a bunch of people, train the shit out of them, and then see who produces. And it's literally just run as a strict meritocracy. If you produce, you get to stay and you get to make a lot of money. And if you don't produce, then you can go work at McDonald's or go back to doing whatever.
You eat what you kill, man. George's, I can advocate George's crew over here is fun to work with. The culture's solid. So they come in, they don't leave. That's how it goes. So. Thanks, Anthony, you over there, man?
Yeah, he's watching. What's up, man?
Yeah, Anthony goes, what works? Everything works, Anthony. Men posting themselves in Speedos.
Everything works. It's just a matter of how much you want to spend. But I mean, frankly, I'll give you the exact same advice that I give to random wholesalers. Keep marketing to absentee owners, probates, people in foreclosure, right? And keep marketing to them.
Do it all the time.
Right. So what happens, I was having this conversation with one of my sales guys today, that statistic you always hear is every sale happens after like the 12th follow-up call, or let's say the 5th follow-up call or whatever. And he said something to the effect of like, I believe that, here's some examples of how it's true in my life, and sometimes in the past like I didn't believe that. I've gone through phases like that too. Totally normal. Marketing is the same way, right? How many billboards for like Dr. Pepper cherry did you need to see before you went out and tried a cherry Dr. Pepper?
You probably don't even know. It's probably 10 times the amount you thought.
So how many times would you need to get a pamphlet from someone you never have met and don't know saying that they want to buy your house, your home, your mother's home that just died, and before you call them? Could be 5, could be 6, could be 7. I was listening to a podcast from a really big shop wholesaler in Portland, Oregon, and he says that most of his deals come from after the 8th letter he's sent somebody. 8, right? So like you want to send out a one campaign. I was telling a kid we met on Facebook the other day that was a new wholesaler. And I said, kid, that $500 you have in your bank account, I would love you to tell you to send 1,000 letters and you'll get a deal from it. But sometimes I have to send 3,000 letters to get one deal, or 5,000. And those 5,000 letters too is the 3rd time I've sent that person a letter.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to look you in the eye and tell you to just send out 500 postcards, like probably isn't going to work. You might get lucky, probably isn't going to work. You can do this instead. Like this is more free. You can follow up. But like if you're trying to get into wholesaling, if you're trying to run a business, if you're trying to do this, and you think that you can try something once and it's going to be a magic button that you can click and
no, let's go play roulette. You must take your 500 play roulette. Like it's I always tell my advice along the lines of the exact same concept is I always tell people build out your marketing campaign for 6 months. Like, it's not a one-time campaign. Build it out for 6 months and then allocate that money over 6 months because it's going to be a repetition of hits that people are eventually going to come back to you with. Like the common call is, hey, I got your postcard a year and a half ago. You're like,
huh? Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I have like 6 of them. And you're like, that was it. Like you get that call. You're laughing because you get that call all the time.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know that call. It's not the I got your postcard on Monday, I called you Tuesday morning, let's have a deal Wednesday. Sure, you get that, but like you're just trying to strike gold.
Yep.
Just like do what works consistently. So
doing what works consistently is consistently working.
Oh, it's consistently.
Whammy!
It's consistently doing what works.
But yeah, and on that note, I think that's all we got for today, unless you got anything else.
That's it, man. We'll check back in on the market. Woo! We are the middlemen. George today was. Did you have any? Was there any Russian George here?
There was a little Russian George on the intro live. However, I'm not sure if there was with podcast. So I have problem now with randomly going into Russian accent in middle of conversation. Let me point out to you, Mr. Capello, a hoodie for standing naked in snow.
Oh, Mr. Capello, would you accept the brand new unreleased HMB t-shirt coming out, or do you want the old school hoodie? You tell me, my friend. You put the order in, it is yours. So, middleman, what do we do? George did a really good outline as to what he does in terms of wholesaling. George is a fantastic wholesaler in the city of Philadelphia, fantastic business owner. George, explain what wholesaling exactly is and why people would reach out to you.
If you want to buy an investment property, you don't want to deal with some real estate agent's bullshit. Just go to my website, paoffmarket.com, and buy a house from me, buy a contract to buy real estate from me, whatever. Just go to the website, look at the deals. If you see something you like, hit us up at the number that's on the website and buy it.
Perfect. And if you guys want to buy it, you don't have the money, you're going to need mine, and that's what I do. So hardmoneybankers.com. That's where you go, and we are private funding in the Philadelphia, South Jersey, Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia markets. If you have a deal, send it our way. I will take a look at anything, and I will respond to you the same day. And if I have to, I'll close it in 24 hours just for you.
Woo!
Anthony, you get the new one, buddy. As soon as they come in, it's all yours, champ.
Hey, let's see if we got any other cool questions here on Facebook, guys. Thank you for watching again. I'm going to scroll to the top here.
Sure.
How's my hair today? Actually, my hair looks pretty good.
Hair's good. Hair's good. Shirt's good. Hair's good.
Oh, how do I swipe left to reveal comments? Let's see. Finally, a haircut. Need a little more on the top. What up, man? Josh wants to know if the bottom